Anna here, and today I am going to talk with you about my top 10 favorite games of 2017. And to add some flavor, I am going to talk about my top 10 unique themes of 2017. For me, theme is very important. It adds so many layers to a game that aren't really there if there is no theme at all. And if a theme is unique, I am instantly interested in that game. Maybe some of these games you haven't even really heard about them, but I hope when you hear about the great themes that they have, you are going to try these games out. For me, while making this list, it was important that the theme was unique, it did something interesting, or it looked at a thing in the theme in another way, and that were some of the criteria that I used. Besides that, it was of course important if the theme added fun and how they implemented the theme. So if it really added to the game or if it was more pasted on. And also, of course, how much I enjoyed the game. So those were some of the factors that went into me creating this top 10 list. But enough talk of me, let's go to the games and let's start with number 10. So, for the first game that I'm going to talk about, I am going to talk about a theme that you're probably like, but Anna, there's so many games in this genre and they are so pasted on. But I do feel like I had to give it an honorable mention because it is the first game where I really felt like it tried to cooperate the theme and didn't feel like pasted on, and that is going to be Cat Lady. I really love Cat Lady. It really was made for the cat lovers, whereas in other games with cat themes I felt like they put it more on top of it for the cute factor than that it really was about anything related to cats, like cats that play volleyball or stuff like that. What probably is a better, uniquer theme than maybe Cat Lady, but I did want to mention it at my top 10 just because I felt like it is like the first game that was really made for cat lovers and was really about cats instead of all those other pasted on themes. So that's my number 10, Cat Lady. Going to be a game what I think is one of the first games that really try to deal with social dilemmas and social problems all over the world and really try to do a serious theme, and that is going to be This War of Mine. In this game, you are people, civilians that are trapped in a city that is completely torn apart by war, and it is pretty real. They already released it in the video game form, so I think that is why they were really good at capturing the theme, because that is already like the source material that they were trying to work, that they were working out from. And you really feel that in the game. Everything in the game, every mechanic is really centered around getting this feeling across of this theme of being trapped and don't knowing what to do and trying to just survive. I think this is a great theme, and it's a great great genre of themes, and I think there are not enough games like this. Maybe also you did already have like the one about slavery, which I'm probably gonna put somewhere around here because I just forgot Freedom Underground Railroad. For me, this one fits in that genre of games that are about real things that happened, and social problems all over the world that they are trying to get across in a game, and that maybe teaches you something about the world. And I think that's really good and really cool, and I think that This War of Mine did that very good. So I am going to put This War of Mine on number 9. My number 8 for my list of top 2007 unique themes is going to be pie. Pie Town. When I heard about this theme, I was totally in. You are going to be rivaling pie bakers, which are going to try to guess the secret recipe by looking a little bit and searching for that all those ingredients that all the rivaling pie bakers are using to build their pie, to make their pies. It is a worker placement, but with this fantastic theme on top, which is very interesting. I always love it when they do a theme that's maybe more on the cutesy side, so it caters more for the females like me, and it maybe has a little bit less theme that is going to instantly attract men. But this is really a theme that my girlfriends and I love. Just baking pies, being their grandma that bakes these really nice pies. You can really go into the theme of it, and the components are fantastic of this game. So that is going to be Pie Town, a game about rivaling pie bakers. For my number 7 spot is a game that is also probably on this list for a couple of other reasons, for which I find maybe this theme more unique than people that are also from America, because this is a game that I see I'm confronted with every day, and that is going to be Pandemic Rising Tide. It says pandemic, but this game is just really about the Netherlands and its struggle to survive from all the water that is trying to flood our precious little country, the Netherlands. This is just something that I am confronted with every day. The map even has my town on it, and so it even has personal value, because I really have to try to make myself survive, of course. So that is why Pandemic Rising Tide is for me even a more unique theme than other people. Oh, also because my dad is a captain on barges, so I'm a captain's daughter, and I've lived on the water for most of my life. So this is just a theme that is dear to my heart, and I just love that there is a game that cooperated this theme so fantastically, and that is going to be Pandemic Rising Tide, about the struggle of the Netherlands against all the water that's trying to invade us. My number 6 for this list is going to be a game that is a little bit icky and maybe something that other people are a little bit grossed out by, but as a person that works in the healthcare, this is a theme that really speaks to me, and that is viral. I am studying to be a doctor, so of course any theme that is mildly healthcare related is going to be a theme that I'm interested in. And there are already some doctor related themes, but I think there are not enough of them, and there are definitely not enough themes that are out the perspective of the invading microbes, or in this case viruses. So I really like the theme. It has very good artwork. It just looks great, and I find it just a very interesting and unique theme that is a theme that I can also, if I say we are going to be viruses, people are immediately like, oh, that is cool, let's do this and let's destroy this body. And it's just something that I just with that little sentence I can grab people's attention, and they really want to try this game with me, which is also, I think, a rule or a thing that just captures the emotion of a really unique theme, because it's something where you only have to talk about the theme and people are already interested in the game. So that is going to be my number 6 viral. For my number 5, I'm going going to talk about a game that I have been playing a lot on the PlayStation 4, and that is Overcooked. Actually, the game, if you know it, it's about you trying with your friends to run this kitchen, and all your friends are dorks and shouldn't be allowed to work in a kitchen because they do everything wrong, and just trying to micromanage everyone and trying to chop as fast as you can and just getting those orders of soups, pizzas and all these other stuff out, and it's just so chaotic. So when I heard about Kitchen Rush, I was immediately intrigued because I really hoped that it could capture like that chaotic feel of trying to finish those recipes and really micromanaging the kitchen really good. And I think it really succeeded in this. It has these really interesting mechanic where you have these send timers, which are actually your workers, and when you place them on an action, it's like a worker placement actually. When you place them on an action field like cooking or getting herbs, you are not allowed to take it back and let it do another action until that send timer has run out. Only then you are allowed to use that send timer again. Some of those send timers have a little bit more send in it, and others, those are the very fast, like sous chefs, and they are more quickly done with their task. So I also really like that little thing that they added into this theme. It has all these beautiful components. You are like frantically trying to fix and make all these recipes. And trying to, and I really, it's still so chaotic, the game. You are like, I really like to get the herbs, so I'm always calling to my friends, who needs those herbs? Who needs those herbs? What do I have to get? And it just really captures that high adrenaline feel of being in the kitchen. So they really did that very well, and that is going to be Kitchen Rush. Rescue Polar Bears Data Temperature, which is a game from Taiwan. And why I really think this is a unique and interesting theme is because maybe just also with like this war of mine, it is about a problem that we are facing today. And I always like themes that are trying to get the everyday things, like also with Pandemic Rising Tide, so real life events in games and themes in games. And this game is about their polar caps melting and all these precious little polar bears that have now nowhere to live anymore. You are trying to save those polar bears. It's a cooperative game. There are in total, you are not allowed to let, of course, you are not allowed to let those polar bears drown. And if in any way a polar cap melts and there are still polar bears on them and you cannot rescue them, if that happens 6 times, you lose the game. There is a temperature track on it, and so during the game, just all the polar caps are slowly going to melt. The game has really cute ceramic polar bears, and they just look very fantastic, like baby polar bears and mama and papa polar bear. And they are also even reproducing. More polar bears are coming, and all those polar bears, of course, need a place to live, but it's just getting smaller and smaller. You have also these really cool 3D boats, which are going to be scientific boats that are just going to try to save the the North Pole. The polar caps. So I think this is just a really interesting theme that tackles some problems that we are facing today, and the theme is just so woven through it, and with everything that comes in the box, it's just so great components which really liven up let this theme live. So that is going to be Polar Bears, Rescue Polar Bears. Now we are moving in my top 3 games, and to start it off, with my top 3, I am going to talk about a game that for me was really unique because of the non-Western theme, that maybe for people just living in Japan is just such a thing that they all know about, but for us Westerlings it's just something that is not so not something that we are told about. And that I very like just games from other countries that give you these interesting and new themes that you're like, oh, that's really cool. And that is going to be Shadows in Kyoto. In this game, you are the rebels that are going to try to overthrow the government, or the rebel spies, or you are going to be the government itself, which are of course going to try to find those spies. And the thing that for me made the game even cooler is the fact that in this there are only women. All those spies are women. It is something historical that really happened. It's not like you have more games with women, but most of them, like, this is a game where they are actually not wearing maid costumes like in Tenzo Kyore, but they just did some really cool badass stuff, and that's just something for me that I haven't seen that much. And that's just something that I just love about this game. It's historical with women involved, and they're not like screaming that at you. That is the thing, that there are women in it. It's just something that's like, duh, of course there are women in this. Women do cool stuff too, and I just love that. So that is Shadows in Kyoto, a game about spies in Japan. My number 1 is a theme that is just so beautiful, and is not a theme that you are going to be like immediately like, oh, what? Wait, this is interesting. I want to be a tree. And that is going to be Photosynthesis, in which you are, a certain, I think, what should it be? A certain kind of tree. And you are going to try to be the best at growing, just being majestic trees that are outshining all the other trees and putting them in their shadow. So in Photosynthesis you have like a sundial which is going to move around the board, and every time before everyone is going to do their action, you are going to check which of your trees are going to get sun. Of course, if there is from another player or even from yourself a larger tree in front of your little tree, your tree is not going to get any of the sunlight because of the other tree that blocks it, and that is going to be a shame, because that way you are not getting the sun points which you need to spend for your actions to grow, to get new seeds, to acquire new trees, to let your trees go, and eventually, if the whole cyclus is done, the tree is going to be is going to die off and become material for the new trees to grow on. I really love this theme. The artwork is just so beautiful, and it's a theme that I'm like, that's so interesting that they try to do something with this. How did they come up with this? And it's just something that I really want to see more. These themes that are about nature, and that where they are really trying to think like, okay, so this is a theme. How are we going to make a board game around this? It just really feels that way in Photosynthesis with the whole sunlight, and maybe for some people it also feels a little bit like an abstract, but I'm not really bothered by it because it's just an abstract for me with just a fantastic theme. And when I think about it, I don't know how they could have done anything different to get this theme even more across for me in terms of gameplay. I just really love it, and that is going to be Photosynthesis. My number 1, I would never have thought that I would have put this on my list if you had asked me before Essenspiel. Because when I saw it, I was like, ugh, that just sounds stupid. I don't want to play that. Oh, that just sounds so fiddly. And that is going to be Meeple Circus. It wasn't even on my radar until I played it with Dave Luza, which is also on the Dice Tower. And he introduced me to this game on our game night on Saturday at Spiel. And I just loved it. It's just a game, when you hear about it, you're like, how is that going to work? I don't know. Because in this game, and just bear with me guys, it is just really great. You have to try it. It is about you going to perform your circus act. And this you are going to do with pieces you are going to acquire during the game, which are going to be balls, which are going to be stuff you can stand on, like little sticks of wood, of course, and all your performers, like the strong man that you want to have on the bottom, because then they're going to score you extra points if they touch the ground, the acrobats that you want to have, of course, in the air, and even like the tightrope artist, which is going to be the red meeple, which is so cool. It's going to be measured by how high. It's going to be measured how much points you're going to get by how high it gets with this like little thingy that's special to measure that. You're going to play 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds is going to be rehearsal, and the third is going to be the grand finale, in which you are going to perform one by one your act in front of all your friends that are playing this game with you. And you just feel the excitement and also your nervousness, and you're going to think by yourself, like, why am I shaking so much? This is only my friends are watching. And they have like this an app and also a website on which they have special soundtracks, which are going to be 2 minutes long, because you have to finish your performance in 2 minutes. And they're just so much fun. They're this circus themed songs. And I don't know, you just really feel like you are performing your circus act. And it is just perfect. It just feels like the perfect circus game. It just has the building your own dexterity thingy about building your circus act. You can just see what other people are building. From the get-go, your act is going to be different from all the other people that are playing the game, because you acquired different workers or different acrobats and circus people and different equipment that they have to do their act. In your second round, you're even getting a special performer, which is going to be different also every game, what kind of special performance there are going to be. And they are just so much fun. You have like the lion, you have the strongest man on earth, which is going to score you points for everything that it has stacked on top of it. They are like all unique, uniquely shaped. And there's, what is there also? Oh, I also love it has a seal, and you get points for putting a ball on his nose. You have like the clown. Oh, the clown is amazing. You have to let it fall during your act. And that way, because it's clumsy, a clown is clumsy, you all have to laugh about it, so you have to let it fall, and then you score, I think, 2 or 3 points for letting it fall. And that is just your second act, in which, so you're going to get one of those special performers, everyone gets another one, and which is going to make your performance totally unique. And by the third round, the grand finale, you are going to have a special thing added to your performance. Like maybe you have to say, you have to introduce every horsey or elephant, or yes, there are elephants in the game, that is going to come into the pit, or I don't know how you call it in English, but in the circus ring, and you have to introduce them. Maybe you have to say, ow, ow, it hurts every time it falls down, and believe me, it just really hurts when you have finally, with so much effort and with your hands shaking, managed to get that one final meeple on top of the elephant that you stacked and the horse that you stacked, and it's on top of like a ball and 5 people, and you finally put like the last one on top of it and it all falls down and you're like, no, I've 30 seconds left. It's just, it just gives me so much adrenaline, this game. And you just really have to try it out to experience it. It is really a great game. I think I can talk about it for 10 minutes, even more, about all the great cards that are in it. It's just going to give you this unique feeling of doing your own circus act, and it is going to be my number 1 for 2017. The one that I was also very surprised by, also because maybe it's not the most interesting theme that you are going to be heard of, but I just had to put it on my number 1 because it just so perfectly implemented this theme and just so interesting and so much fun. And that is going to be Meeple Circus, my number 1. I hope that you all also had an amazing game year in 2017. I certainly had. There are so many other great games that I wanted to put on this list, but unfortunately it's a top 10 list, so only 10 games can be on this list. Thanks for watching my top 10 unique themes. I hope to see you again in 2018. Much love. Bye!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.